After 65, the chance of developing dementia roughly doubles every 5 years, but what you eat can push the odds back in your favor. Small memory slips and fading names aren't just frustrating, they're an early warning that shows up long before more serious decline. The good news is there's solid science behind certain foods that protect brain cells, sharpen recall, and lower dementia risk. In the next few minutes you'll discover 7 evidence-backed foods, from oily fish and berries to leafy greens, walnuts, olive oil, beans, and a pinch of turmeric, plus why they matter for brains over 70. First, we'll break down the key nutrients, show quick, familiar ways to add them to breakfast, lunch, and snacks, and explain what to avoid. No fancy cooking, no extreme diets, just simple swaps and a ready-to-use shopping checklist. Stay with me to get a practical 3-day meal plan that fits a 70-plus lifestyle and 3 easy recipes you can make tomorrow to start protecting your memory. Omega-3s and brain structure. The brain's gray matter is unusually rich in docosahexaenoic acid, DHA, a long-chain omega-3 that helps build the very membranes of neurons. Loss of membrane integrity and decreased synaptic density are common contributors to memory lapses and shrinking hippocampal volume as people age. Short breaks in signaling, slower synaptic repair, and low-grade inflammation can follow when those lipid building blocks are insufficient. Adding adequate omega-3s, especially DHA and its partner eicosapentaenoic acid, EPA, offers a direct biological solution. They become part of the neuronal membrane, improving fluidity and receptor function so cells communicate more efficiently. Evidence from observational studies links higher blood levels of EPA plus DHA with better memory test scores and larger volumes in memory-critical regions like the hippocampus. Randomized trials have been mixed, however. Benefits tend to show up more clearly in people who start with low omega-3 status or who have early cognitive changes, rather than in those already cognitively healthy. The mechanisms are multiple and practical to understand. DHA supports membrane structure and synaptogenesis, so neurons form and maintain connections more robustly. EPA helps temper neuroinflammation, reducing cytokine signaling that otherwise damages tissue over time. Both fatty acids influence signaling pathways tied to brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, and may aid processes involved in clearing toxic protein fragments. Conversion of plant-based alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, into EPA and DHA is limited in most people, so relying only on flax, chia, or walnuts often won't deliver the same structural benefits as preformed DHA/EPA. Make these facts actionable by changing what you put on your plate and in your supplement cabinet. Aim to include oily fish such as salmon, mackerel, sardines, anchovies, or herring several times a week. They are practical, tasty sources of preformed EPA and DHA. For people who avoid seafood, algae-based DHA supplements provide a direct plant-derived option. Choose low-mercury fish and look for third-party tested supplements that state purification and EPA/DHA content clearly. Keep in mind that meaningful structural change takes consistent intake over months. A one-off meal won't rewire membranes overnight. Talk to your clinician before starting high-dose supplements, especially if you take blood thinners or have bleeding risks. Consider asking about an omega-3 index or blood EPA plus DHA test to establish a baseline and track improvement. Start small, at a fatty fish dinner once or twice a week and reassess your memory and energy after a few months. Consistency is key. Steady omega-3 intake is one of the most evidence-aligned, practical steps people can take to support brain structure and sharpen memory into their 70s and beyond. Flavonoids in berries for memory. Berries are among the richest dietary sources of flavonoids, particularly anthocyanins, which give blueberries, blackberries, and raspberries their deep hues and concentrate in the skins where they're most bioactive. Memory circuits in the brain are vulnerable to oxidative stress and low-grade inflammation as we age. Flavonoids target both threats. Simple fact: these plant pigments don't just color food, they interact with brain chemistry in measurable ways. Damage to neurons and weakening synaptic connections underlie slower recall and muddled thinking. Adding berries can be part of the solution. Flavonoids enhance signaling between neurons, support blood flow in memory-related regions such as the hippocampus, and help dampen inflammatory signaling that accelerates cognitive decline. Short-term studies have shown improved blood flow after berry intake. Longer-term observational work links higher berry consumption with slower cognitive decline in older adults, offering a promising, real-world signal. Digging into details, anthocyanins are the headline compounds in blue and purple berries. Strawberries and raspberries contribute flavonols and other polyphenol like quercetin and elagitannins, which gut bacteria convert into metabolites that reach the brain. These metabolites can activate protective pathways, boosting brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, supporting synaptic plasticity, and modulating oxidative stress via antioxidant response systems such as NRF2 while tempering pro-inflammatory NF-kappa B activity. Animal studies show anthocyanins localized to the hippocampus. Human trials report modest improvements in memory and executive function after berry interventions. The microbiome piece matters. Individual differences in gut bacteria influence how effectively flavonoids are transformed and absorbed. Practical integration is straightforward and versatile. Toss mixed berries into morning oatmeal or yogurt, blend them into smoothies with a source of healthy fat to aid absorption, or keep frozen berries on hand as an easy snack. Freezing preserves most flavonoid content. Combine berries with other brain-supporting habits, regular physical activity, a protein-rich breakfast, and varied plant foods to nourish a healthy microbiome. If tasting variety, rotate blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, and elderberries to broaden the mix of flavonoids and microbial metabolites. Start small and be consistent. Add a portion of berries to a daily meal or include them several times a week and watch how easy it is to sustain. Speak with your healthcare provider if you take medications or have dietary restrictions. Consistent, practical steps, like making mixed berries a regular part of breakfast or snacks, are simple, evidence-aligned ways to help keep memory circuits sharper as you age. Leafy greens and cognitive aging. Declining sharpness of memory and slower thinking can be terrifying for someone in their 70s, but diet is one of the modifiable levers that matter. Poor blood flow, chronic low-grade inflammation, and nutrient shortfalls each play a role in age-related cognitive changes. Many older adults overlook leafy green vegetables, yet these plants supply nutrients that directly target those underlying problems. A practical solution is to make leafy greens a consistent part of daily meals. Spinach, kale, Swiss chard, collard greens, arugula, and bok choy each contribute folate, vitamin K, carotenoids like lutein and beta-carotene, and dietary nitrates, compounds linked to vascular health, antioxidant protection, and neuronal function. Folate supports healthy homocysteine metabolism, which is important because elevated homocysteine is associated with worse cognitive outcomes. Vitamin K participates in brain cell signaling and may help maintain cognitive function. Dietary nitrates from greens improve endothelial function and blood flow, helping the brain get oxygen and nutrients it needs. Concrete examples make this actionable. A soft spinach and feta omelette is an easy breakfast for someone with chewing difficulties. Pureed kale blended into a tomato-based soup hides texture while retaining nutrients and is gentle on teeth and digestion. Lightly steaming collard greens for a few minutes reduces bitterness, keeps them tender, and preserves water-soluble vitamins better than long boiling. Toss raw arugula into a warm grain bowl so it wilts slightly and releases flavor without becoming tough. Smoothies are another tool. Baby spinach blends smoothly and leaves a mild taste, while a handful of chard adds color and extra potassium. Combining greens with a vitamin C source, such as citrus or bell pepper, can enhance iron absorption from the plant foods. Practical integration matters most for people aged 70 and over. Start by pairing a small portion of greens with familiar dishes, stir them into stews, fold into mashed potatoes, or layer them under poultry or fish. Choose softer leaves and cook gently if chewing or swallowing is a concern. Be mindful of medication interactions. Vitamin K can affect anticoagulant drugs like warfarin, so discuss consistent intake patterns with a clinician rather than making sudden large changes. If blood pressure or nitrate-sensitive medications are in use, check with a healthcare provider before dramatically increasing nitrate-rich foods. For seniors with limited appetite, concentrated options like pesto made from tender kale or arugula can add nutrient density in small volumes. Try one simple change this week: add a handful of leafy greens to one meal each day for 7 days and notice any differences in energy or mental clarity. Keep the portions small at first, vary textures and flavors to stay engaged, and consult your healthcare team about medications and individualized limits. Small, consistent steps can help protect brain health and make a real difference in sharpness and quality of life. Curcumin's anti-inflammatory role. Chronic, low-grade inflammation in the aging brain contributes to subtle memory lapses and can accelerate pathways linked to dementia. This inflammatory state is driven by immune signaling molecules and overactive brain immune cells, and it quietly damages neurons over time. Left unchecked, This creates a background of stress that undermines learning, recall, and resilience to injury. Targeting that inflammation is one promising approach, and curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, acts on several of the molecular players involved. It downregulates inflammatory signaling pathways such as NF-kappa B, and lowers levels of pro-inflammatory cytokines including TNF-alpha, IL-1 beta, and IL-6. At the same time, curcumin dampens microglial overactivation, the brain's resident immune response, shifting microglia away from a persistently reactive state that contributes to synaptic damage. Mechanisms matter. Curcumin is both anti-inflammatory and antioxidant, so it reduces signaling that prompts immune cells to produce damaging molecules and also neutralizes reactive oxygen species that harm neurons. Animal studies consistently show reduced neuroinflammation and preserved synaptic markers after curcumin exposure. Small human trials and biomarker studies have reported reductions in peripheral inflammatory markers and, in some cases, improvements in memory or mood when bioavailable curcumin formulations were used, though results vary and more research is ongoing. Practical use requires attention to absorption and safety. Standard turmeric powder contains curcumin but is poorly absorbed on its own. Combining turmeric with black pepper, piperine, and a source of healthy fat enhances uptake. Specialized products, phytosome, liposomal, or nanoparticle curcumin, are formulated to increase bioavailability and have been used in clinical studies. People taking blood thinners, those with gallbladder disease, or anyone on multiple medications should consult their clinician before starting a concentrated supplement, because curcumin can interact with some drugs and can cause gastrointestinal upset at high doses. Start with food-based steps and then consider supplementation if appropriate. Cook turmeric into savory dishes, add it to soups and stews with a grind of black pepper and a splash of oil, or make a warm drink that includes fat to aid absorption. If considering a supplement, choose third-party tested, standardized curcumin extracts or enhanced bioavailability formulas and discuss the choice with a healthcare professional to balance potential benefits against interactions and individual health conditions. Takeaway: curcumin's anti-inflammatory and antioxidant actions target key processes tied to age-related cognitive decline, and practical integration, through diet, absorption-enhancing pairings, or clinician-supervised supplements, can make it a useful part of a brain health strategy. Speak with your healthcare provider about whether adding turmeric or a curcumin supplement is sensible for your medication profile and overall plan for preserving memory. The importance of hydration for the elderly. Thirst cues become blunted with age, and the kidneys lose some of their ability to concentrate urine, so older adults are at higher risk of underhydration even when they don't feel thirsty. Chronic illnesses, fever, diarrhea, heavy sweating, and commonly prescribed drugs such as diuretics and some antidepressants further raise that risk. Because the brain depends on stable blood volume and electrolyte balance for optimal function, even small shortfalls in fluid intake can show up as fogginess, slower thinking, or poorer short-term recall. Even mild dehydration can impair attention, working memory, and executive function. People may notice trouble finding words, following conversations, or making decisions. Practical signs to watch for include dizziness when standing, decreased urine output, darker urine, dry mouth, and unexplained fatigue or agitation. Examples from everyday life: an older neighbor who skips fluids because of incontinence fears may start missing appointments or repeating questions. A person on a loop diuretic might feel lightheaded after getting up, which increases fall risk. Make hydration part of the daily routine rather than waiting for thirst. Keep a visible water bottle and take regular, small sips throughout the day. Include fluids with every meal: broths, soups, milk, and yogurt-based drinks all count, and add hydrating snacks like watermelon, cucumber, oranges, or grapes to the menu. Herbal teas and diluted fruit juices can add variety, while limiting alcoholic beverages and being cautious with high caffeine drinks is wise because they can disrupt sleep and, in some cases, increase fluid loss. When medications may influence balance of fluids or electrolytes, coordinate intake timing with a pharmacist or clinician so hydration supports both safety and effectiveness. Caregivers and older adults can use simple monitoring and behavioral cues to integrate better hydration into daily life. Set phone alarms or link sipping to routine actions. Take a drink after every bathroom trip, with each medication, or at the top of every hour. Keep a record for a few days to identify patterns. If urine is consistently dark or there are repeated dizziness episodes, bring those notes to a clinician. If confusion, rapid heart rate, severe lightheadedness, or decreased consciousness occur, seek medical attention promptly because those can indicate more serious fluid or electrolyte problems. Start with one small change today, Add a glass of water to breakfast and note how mental clarity and energy feel over the next few days. Then discuss ongoing goals and any medication interactions with your healthcare team. Nuts and seeds for healthy fats. Most nuts and seeds concentrate heart and brain-friendly fats in compact packages. Many people think of snacks when they picture them, but these foods are biochemical tools, rich in monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats, and in several cases a notable plant source of omega-3, ALA. The result is improved membrane health for neurons, antioxidant protection for delicate lipids, and support for blood vessel function that keeps oxygen and nutrients flowing to the brain. Research has linked regular nut and seed consumption with better cognitive performance and slower decline, though they work best as part of an overall healthy eating pattern. Start with the easy wins. Walnuts and ground flaxseed provide alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant omega-3 that contributes to anti-inflammatory pathways. Almonds and sunflower seeds are excellent sources of vitamin E, a fat-soluble antioxidant that helps protect brain cell membranes from oxidative damage. Pumpkin seeds supply magnesium and zinc, minerals essential for cellular signaling and neurotransmitter regulation. Brazil nuts are uniquely concentrated sources of selenium, which supports antioxidant enzymes. Consume them sparingly because of that concentration. Sesame seeds and flax contain lignans and other polyphenol that add antioxidant and anti-inflammatory benefits. Practical details matter when you shop, store, and prepare them. Choose unsalted or lightly salted varieties to avoid excess sodium, and read labels on nut butters to avoid added sugars and hydrogenated oils. Store sensitive items, especially walnuts and ground flaxseed, in the refrigerator or freezer to slow rancidity and preserve their beneficial oils. Whole seeds like chia and sesame are very shelf-stable. Ground seeds release oils and should be kept cold. For people with dental issues, nut butters, finely ground nuts, or blitzed mixes are easier to chew while delivering the same nutrients. Be mindful of allergies and talk to a healthcare provider if you have concerns. Integration into daily meals is straightforward and flexible. Sprinkle chopped walnuts or pumpkin seeds over yogurt or salads for crunch and healthy fats. Stir a spoonful of ground flax into porridge or smoothies to boost ALA and fiber. Spread almond or peanut butter on whole grain toast, or blend tahini into dressings and soups for a creamy nutty note. Create a simple trail mix with unsalted mixed nuts and dried fruit for an on-the-go option, or swap crunchy chips for roasted seeds. Variety is key. Rotating different nuts and seeds ensures a wider range of micronutrients and phytochemicals. Try one small change today. Add a small handful of mixed nuts or a spoonful of ground seeds to a meal. Keep portions modest because these foods are calorie-dense, store them properly to preserve their oils, and consult your clinician if you take blood thinners or have allergies. Small, consistent choices add up, and nuts and seeds are among the most practical, tasty ways to support brain health as we age. Worried that forgetfulness is the first step toward losing yourself? You're not alone. Memory changes can feel scary, but small, everyday choices can slow decline and keep your mind sharper well into your 70s and beyond. The solution isn't magic, it's food you can buy at any grocery store. Remember these essentials: fatty fish for omega-3s, berries for antioxidants, leafy greens for folate and vitamin K, nuts, especially walnuts, for vitamin E, whole grains for steady energy, extra virgin olive oil for healthy fats, beans and legumes for sustained glucose, turmeric for its anti-inflammatory edge, and a little dark chocolate or green tea for occasional brain benefits. Together they support blood flow, reduce inflammation, and feed the cells that help you remember names, places, and moments. Make it simple. Aim for 2 servings of oily fish a week, a handful of berries or nuts daily, a plate of greens with most meals, swap refined carbs for whole grains, cook with olive oil, and add turmeric to soups or stews. Mix these into breakfasts, easy salads, one-pan dinners, and snacks you enjoy. Small swaps add up fast. If this resonated, try one change this week and tell us which one below. Your experience could help others. Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video where we'll share a 7-day brain-boosting meal plan, grocery list, and simple recipes you can make in under 30 minutes. Consult your doctor for personalized advice, and keep taking steps toward a sharper, fuller life.